Hello everyone, welcome to ixamBee. RBI Grade B DEPR exam for 2022 is already scheduled. In a series of videos, ixamBee is going to discuss the previous year questions for phase 1 related to 2018, 2019 and 2021. Before we move ahead, let me remind you about the last date for application. So if you are eligible to apply for RBI Grade B from the DEPR stream, tomorrow April 18th is the last date to apply and register. So in case you have not applied till now, you still have few hours left. So please do go ahead and apply, and this is open till 6 p.m. tomorrow, so not till midnight, it is 6 p.m. tomorrow. So please take note and apply if you have still not applied. Now moving ahead in our understanding for the DEPR exam, how exactly the questions pattern is. As you may be already aware, in the phase 1, which is scheduled to be held on the 2nd of July 2022, for DEPR, the first paper is an objective paper on economics. It is a purely economics based paper. It is different from the general grade B exam. So this is only based on economics. It's a 120 minutes exam of 100 marks. So 100 marks, but how are these bifurcated in the questions form? So there can be any number of questions ranging from 60 to 64. So somewhere between this, because the marks are here of varied. There are 1 marker questions, 2 marker, 3 marker and even 4 marker questions that come in your DEPR exam. So based on this combination, there can be anywhere between 60 to 64 questions in the exam. Divided into 3 parts. The first part relates to your microeconomics and questions based on that, which can be a 1, 2 or 3 marker questions. Then the next section relates to the macroeconomics, which includes your questions on Indian economy, and here again the questions can be of 1 mark, 2 marks and 3 marks. The last and the third section is related to econometrics and statistics, and here your questions can be a 1 mark, 2 mark and 4 marks. So basically these are numerical questions. All these 3 markers and 4 markers are mostly your numerical based questions from these particular segments. If I talk about the negative marking, yes, there is negative marking, and again this depends on the marks for each question. The 1 and the 3 marker questions have actually a 33% negative marking, while the 2 and 4 marker questions have a 50% negative marking. So this is based on the past trends of exams that have happened for DEPR. This is how the paper is mostly structured. So now moving ahead and talking about the questions and the papers that have come in the past, we will discuss them segment wise, first being the microeconomics segment. So if I talk about the microeconomics in 2018, the questions that had come were related to standard models of oligopoly. There were also questions related to the market forms and its cost and revenue curves. There were questions related and numericals related to the calculation of equilibrium, price and quantity in different market structures, and there were numericals on elasticity, demand and supply elasticity. In 2019, when we move ahead, the questions consisted of a question on ICC and angel curve for inferior goods. There was numerical for calculation of minimum AVC, monopoly related question where you had to calculate the equilibrium in a monopoly market structure. Then again there was calculations, numerical based questions on elasticity. A numerical was there on learners index. Then perfect competition equilibrium, so equilibrium calculation in different markets, monopoly, perfect competition, sometimes oligopoly. This are recurring questions or topics. Then conceptual questions on AC, AVC, marginal cost and the diagrams and curves related to these. Duopoly related question on the Cornet model. The comparative advantage related numerical was there, and numerical on economic profit and substitution and income effect under the Hicks and Slutsy model. So these were the questions from microeconomics that were covered in 2019. moving on to 2021, last year, the questions from the microeconomics segment consisted of numericals on elasticity of demand, which was a 4-marker question. There was a numerical on substitution and income effect. There was a question on the cornet and the duopoly market structure. Production function questions related to consumer surplus and Pareto optimality. Then the Cobb-Douglas production function related question was also there, and a numerical on the Leontief matrix. So if I talk about the common parts, a numerical on elasticity of demand has been recurring in all these years. Even substitution effect, the Carnot model is also asked again and again. Here we can see the Carnot model. Here also it was asked. Production functions related questions, calculations and numericals related to it have also been a common feature. So these are some of the recurring topics and the different types of questions that have come in microeconomics. Now as I move ahead, there may be one question that may be coming into your mind, and that could be, okay, these are the topics that you have mentioned and that the numericals had come from these topics, but what were exactly the exact questions that were asked? Is there a way that you can find the exact questions? As you all are aware, these question papers are not provided, so there can be memory based papers, and that is what ixamBee is trying to do. On the basis of the topics that have come in the last 3 years, we are going to cover conceptual and numerical questions from these particular topics over a series of videos. So we will be taking up microeconomics, macroeconomics, statistics and econometrics related questions, topics that have been asked, and what type of numericals can be built on them for 1 marker, 2 markers, 4 markers, 3 markers, and certain conceptual questions, which we will cover over a series of videos that will be available on our YouTube channel. That will give you an insight into the types of questions and will also actually help you practice certain type of questions from these particular topics, which are recurring and have been asked and have likelihood of being asked in this year also. So moving ahead with the macroeconomics part. In the macroeconomics in 2018, the questions that came from the topics related to the Taylor's rule, the ISLM curve, it was a numerical where you had to calculate the income and the interest rate. Then there were questions related to the current economic events of that time. So there were questions related to the number of currencies that were present in that are used in the calculation of SDR by IMF, the major banking reforms at the time of liberalization, and the recommended capital adequacy ratio that was given by RBI. And there were some other questions related to current economic events of that time. There were questions on the Nash equilibrium, basic game theory, determination of national income. This is also a recurring topic every year, a numerical based on national income accounting, and then numericals related to multiplier, accelerator, and balanced budget. As we move ahead to 2019, the topics that were covered and the questions that were asked were from Higgins model. There were conceptual questions where you had to match the theory with the author of that particular theory. There was a simple question as to what a bank should keep in mind while investing. So this was a simple conceptual question whose answers was diversification. Then in 2019, there were a lot of questions from the economic survey, data-based kind of questions. They had asked what the IMF had projected at the growth rate for India, what was the fiscal deficit that was being budgeted for 18-19, GST Council was constituted under which section, what were the total insolvency resolution claims that were made in 18-19, the demographic dividend data related question that was mentioned in the economic survey, the sectors that were exempted from GST, and the rate. This was kind of a calculation you had to do based on India's vision of reaching the 5 trillion economy by 24-25, then how much would India have to grow given the current GDP? So these were the type of questions, and even that time bank merger was in news. So there was a conceptual question, factual question, actually news-based question from the bank merger, and one conceptual question from the Lewis model. So these were, there was a lot of data related questions from the economic survey directly in 2019. If I talk about the numericals that came in 2019, they were related to the Keynesian model, concept of AD is equal to AS, where, you know, under 2 sector, 3 sector and 4 sector models, you had to do some calculation there. Then there was a Keynesian model related to foreign multiplier, golden rule savings based on the solo model. There was a numerical. There were 2 numericals on national income accounting. And then ISLM curve related question, government expenditure multiplier under the SKM model had to be calculated. So these were the numericals. As you can see, national income accounting is a common topic. ISLM curve numerical is a common topic that had come. Moving to 2021, there were actually no questions directly being asked from the economic survey in phase 1. In phase 2, there were questions. However, in phase 1, the objective part from the economic survey, there weren't many questions. However, the other common topics that were asked in 2021 related to the national income accounting. Again, there was a numerical on this. There was some calculation for primary deficit, both a conceptual question and a simple numerical. Then conceptual questions related to shift in the ISLM curve, the Muntel-Fleming model related question, a question related to the shape of the Phillips curve. There was a numerical for the calculation of the multiplier, again a recurring topic, important. There was a conceptual question related to adaptive expectation, infant industry argument based question. Then the conceptual question related to the factors that lead to decline in money supply, a conceptual question on balance of payments. There were 2 questions on public finance, conceptual again. Then calculation numerical was there for the calculation of inflation rate. There was a given set of data and you had to calculate the inflation rate from there. There was a question on terms of trade and one numerical based on calculation for risk premium from various information that was given. So these were some of the topics, the type of questions that had come in 2021. So this remained a common part. ISLM remained a common part. Calculation of multiplier was again common. So some of these were the common recurring topics. What was not there in 21 was economic survey related direct questions. However, having said that, this document and the budget remains important, and there is a fair chance of data being asked from these 2 documents in this current year also. Moving to the last segment, which is the econometrics and the statistics. The type of questions asked in 2018 was related to the calculation of the Gini coefficient to the integration approach. Then there was the metrics approach for calculating the regression coefficient. You had to calculate the F ratio from a given set of table and data. Adjusted R square had to be calculated. There was a conceptual question, heteroscedasticity, and then what does an efficient mean with regard to regression coefficient is. So these were some questions that were there in 2018. Moving ahead to 2019, there were a 4-marker question related to the matrix method of regression. So it's a very, very important numerical based topic and calculation that comes almost every year. Calculation of R square, again a common topic that was asked in 18 and also in 19. Calculation of R from the regression equations consisting of 2 variables. Basic conceptual assumptions of the CRLM effects, and the calculation of t-value. Then conceptual questions from multicollinearity, autocorrelations, time series, lagged values, index numbers, and relationship between R square and correlation coefficient. Moving to 2021, again the questions revolved around correlation and regression analysis. There was also a question on numerical on the covariance, where you had been given covariance of A and B, and then you had to calculate for different set of variables if they were included, then you had to calculate the covariance. Then the calculation of t-value, again something which is recurring. If I see here also, there was a calculation of t value, and here also in 18 it was related to F ratio. Then binomial distribution related question, there was a question on probability, again question on heteroscedasticity, autocorrelation. The Durbin and Watson test under this was asked. So these are some of the topics, the type of questions that have been coming. As I stated, over a series of videos, we'll pick up these topics and discuss the types of questions one you should be preparing and the various type of numericals for your practice based on these information that we have. So do watch these videos. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so that you get the notification whenever this video is uploaded. So in the next question, we will start discussing topic wise the types of questions that have been asked in the past years and how these questions could have been framed in the exam. If you need any further assistance from us, ixamBee offers a DEPR course which consists of video lessons and study notes. There are a lot of full-length practice tests for phase 1 and for phase 2, which will include both descriptive economics and descriptive English. And we also do regular live sessions, classes for discussion and query resolution. If you subscribe this year, you will get 10 mock tests for paper 1 in the exam pattern consisting of 60 to 64 questions in various mock tests in the same pattern of 3 sections of micro, macro, statistics, consisting of a lot of numericals as they are asked in exam. In addition to these 10 mock tests, you will also get other practice tests in the form of section tests, which will be numerical based and conceptual based for practice from all the 3 segments. And we have also started live sessions, at least 2 to 3 in a week we do, and we've started from 24th of March and we'll continue to do these sessions till the end of June before your exam on 2nd of July. In these classes also we discuss questions, conceptual, numericals based on these certain topics which are recurring and important for the DEPR exam. So if you want to avail this benefit, as of now we are also running an offer for a discount of 50% on our course. You can use the coupon code RBI50 to avail of this offer. In case you need any other assistance, you can reach out to us on the number provided or write to us on this email ID. Again, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get notification for the next video in this series of previous year questions of DEPR. Thank you everybody and wishing you all the best.